What's that sound? It's for amusement only, the EM and Bingo Pinball Podcast. Welcome back to For Amusement Only. This is Nick Baldridge. It has been a crazy couple of weeks. I've been working on several projects simultaneously, and things are going pretty well. So here's what I've been working on. For the multi-bingo, I've been working on the cabinet artwork. Unfortunately, art is not my strong suit. And the thing that I'm working on is pretty ambitious, so it's going very slowly for my tastes. But it is coming along, so hopefully I'll have that done in the next few weeks. It's going to take me quite a bit longer than I anticipated to do it, though, at the rate that I'm going. So, while that's been going on, I have actually already taken a small break from it, and this weekend I decided to just devote to programming. No graphics work whatsoever. I was tired of doing graphics work for a little bit, so I wanted to get back into game programming and rules programming and decoding schematics. So I ended up working on two games, Palm Springs and Surf Club. Palm Springs and Surf Club are two of the only three games that Bally manufactured using a 25-hole playfield that had a hold feature. The hold feature allowed you to shift the shutter as it moved back over to the left or over to the right to dump all the odd balls, all the even balls, or all the balls as the shutter normally does. The feature is actually really cool, and it's a really fun couple games to play. I've been lucky enough to play Palm Springs and Surf Club, and I will say that Surf Club ranks right up there as one of my favorites. So, I got the games programmed in. Here's the tricky part. The way that the shutter code works, it runs in a tight little loop, and it will check to see if the shutter is open by hitting a limit switch. When it hits a limit switch, that loop effectively cancels out of itself, so it stops attempting to open the shutter. If it hits the limit the other way, it knows that it's closed, and it will stop. I had to add some code to the shutter so that it would pull in the coil, which allows it to shift left or right as it opens. And it should work. Now, I do have to wire in the playfield and do all the graphics for the game before I can actually test it. But on my development computer, it's doing what I'm telling it to, but that's as much as I know. When I have it wired into actual hardware, it'll tell me quite a bit. So, and I've also been working on a new EM arcade game called Robo-Frenzy, and I believe I mentioned that I was working on a game last time, but I don't think I divulged any details. So here's a little bit about how we envision the gameplay is going to work. The idea is it's 1 or 2 player, simultaneous, and what you're trying to do is to build a robot. And you do this by collecting a gear from the bottom of the back glass and bringing it up to the top left or top right of the back glass. Meanwhile, an octopus is trying to stop you, and if you're hit by the octopus while holding a gear, it causes you to drop the gear. It will also prevent you from picking up another gear for a little small period of time. When you complete 6 cycles of going down, picking up a gear, bringing it back up, you will have assembled a complete robot, score a couple points, and the cycle begins anew. Each gear that you bring up scores you 1 point, and the game is timed. So, the idea with 2 players is you're competing on score. The game should be super fun, and it's already designed mechanically. So I've been amassing parts, and I have pretty much everything that I need. And my partner, Ryan Claytor, is doing the artwork and keeping me from cheaping out too much on user-facing stuff. I'm very excited to get this thing built, and we'll see how it does. One of the things that we're doing is making a custom cabinet, though. That's going to take a little time, and we're taking it kind of slow, so it won't go at the pace of the multi-bingo, but the schematic's all drawn, at least the initial revision, and I should be able to get the thing wired up relatively quickly when we have the cabinet design figured out. I may knock together a box just to hold some parts in order to test it out, while we come up with a suitable design. But for now, things are going pretty well. So, back in the land of the multi, I have multiple playfields that I need to wire, which I'll be doing. But I've kind of missed coding for it. As I mentioned, I've been through and I've done Palm Springs and Surf Club. There's one more hold feature game, Ice Frolics, that I still need to do. And then it's on to some real oddball games, including Hi-Fi, Gaiety, Gay Time, and then on to some really funky stuff with these playfields with different layouts. But Gaiety and Gay Time, I found a Pockets unit. I have that here. I'll assemble that onto the playfield and get that wired in and ready to go. For Hi-Fi, I found out how that mechanism works, and I'm thinking about having one fabricated. And then I'm thinking of doing something similar for ABC, Bolero, and 1-2-3. Those three games used a roulette-style playfield, which is basically a big metal tub with a pop bumper in the center. And you shoot around an arch, and it spins around in the bowl, and it either lands in a hole or hits a pop bumper and is ricocheted into a different hole. If you get 3, 4, 5 in a row, you win. No scoring on diagonals, it's only vertical and horizontal. But that playfield is a bit of a challenge because it is smaller than all the other bingo playfields, and it appears to be deeper than those playfields as well. So what I'm hoping to do is to look at one and figure out a way to make my own. So that's in the works. We'll see what happens there. As far as other goings on, I got a package today with some parts for repair for a client. But in the package, I found out that Marco Specialties sells dead rubber. And I am going to re-outfit all of my bingos with that dead rubber. I'm very excited. I've been using black rubber instead of true dead rubber, but having the dead rubber is a game changer, and it was recommended by Bally, and the playfields were shipped with dead rubber from the factory at Bally. So I'm going to outfit all the games with that, and we'll see how it does. I have a bunch of playfields now, and a bunch of them need dead rubber, so I'll get that installed. But you would not believe how big of a difference that makes, and just the durometer measure is different on that, the bounciness factor, but it makes a huge difference in the gameplay. Getting 16, you have to aim for it precisely. There's very little chance of you ricocheting into it accidentally. You have to actually play the game. I love that element, so that's why I'm re-outfitting everything. And Marco, as far as I know, is the only parts distributor that carries the dead rubber. So if you need it, just search for dead rubber, or search for hard rubber, or just search for bingo, and it'll come up. I thank them for carrying that. So the dead rubber gets put only on the red posts. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but that's how Bally shipped the playfields from the factory. So if you're outfitting a game with dead rubber, you don't put it on every single post. You put a normal 5/16 inch white rubber ring on most of the posts, except for the ones in the corners, which use a 1-inch rubber, and then the dead rubber down at the bottom. In other big news, Ryan Claytor, friend of the show, friend of mine, great artist, has taken on the task through Pinball Resource of reproducing pinball plastics. He started with his 1956 scoreboard, which is a Gottlieb, and he'll be focusing mainly on titles that have not had reproductions done in the past. Ryan has a phenomenal attention to detail. He spent a lot of time getting his plastics just right, and the final product looks amazing. The 1950s plastics are brittle, they shrink, and the artwork will essentially crumble off of them. So rather than having a browned, crispy piece of plastic, some people say they look like bacon. He has a fresh new set of plastics that are made using modern materials, and it just looks gorgeous compared to the way that it looked initially when he picked up the game. So he does excellent work just all around, and I know he's going to make great work of any other plastic sets that he ends up taking on through Pinball Resource. For now, though, if you need a set of plastics for scoreboard, be sure to contact Pinball Resource. He did a very limited run, and they're there now. Get them while you can. All right, and that is all for tonight. Thank you very much for joining me. My name again is Nick Baldridge. You can reach me at foramusementonlypodcast@gmail.com, or you can call me on the Bingos line. That's 724-BINGOS1, 724-246-4671. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, via RSS, on Facebook, on Twitter at Bingo Podcast. You can follow me on Instagram, also at Bingo Podcast, or you can listen to us on our website, which is foramusementonly.libsyn.com. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.